In the heart of downtown Los Angeles, a building casts a long, dark shadow, not just over the street, but over the very history of the city. At night, its vintage neon sign glows a haunting red, a beacon in the rain-slicked darkness, beckoning the lost, the desperate, and the damned. This is the Cecil Hotel, a place where the American dream came to die. To understand its story, we must peel back the layers of time, starting from its very foundation, built on hope but destined for despair. For over a century, these walls have been silent witnesses to some of America's most chilling and inexplicable events. It's more than just a hotel. It's a repository of secrets, a vertical cemetery where the ghosts of the past refuse to check out. Our story begins in the Roaring '20s, a time of excess and ambition. The Cecil Hotel opened its doors in 1924, a grand Art Deco palace intended to host traveling businessmen and tourists exploring the burgeoning city of angels. Imagine the pristine lobby, gleaming marble floors, ornate fixtures, a testament to opulence and promise. It was designed to be a jewel in the crown of Los Angeles. But just a few years later, the world plunged into darkness. The Great Depression of the 1930s hit, and the fortunes of the Cecil plummeted along with the stock market. The grand lobby, once filled with laughter and conversation, fell silent. The velvet chairs became frayed, the gilded fixtures tarnished, and dust settled like a shroud over its faded glory. The hotel's character began to shift. It was no longer a destination for the hopeful, but a refuge for the hopeless. The surrounding area, once a vibrant business district, devolved into what would become known as Skid Row, and with poverty came desperation. The Cecil became a place of last resort, and its hallways began to echo with stories of profound sadness. The first documented suicides occurred during this era, starting a grim tradition that would stain the hotel's reputation for decades to come. Each incident was a personal tragedy, a life extinguished within its decaying walls, adding another layer to its growing legend as a place of sorrow. As the decades passed, the hotel's notoriety only deepened. The 1940s, 50s, and 60s saw a string of unsettling events. Unsolved murders, violent altercations, and more tragic suicides became disturbingly common. It was as if the building itself had absorbed the misery of its occupants, developing a malevolent energy of its own. Rumors circulated among locals and law enforcement. The Cecil was no longer just a cheap place to stay. It was a suicide hotel, a place people went to disappear one way or another. One of the most infamous cases from this period was that of Pigeon Goldie Osgood, a retired telephone operator known for feeding the birds in nearby Pershing Square. She was found brutally murdered in her room in 1964, a crime that remains unsolved to this day. Her story became a chilling local legend, a cautionary tale whispered about the dangers that lurked behind the Cecil's closed doors. The hotel had become a magnet for the darkest elements of society, a transient home for those living on the fringe, its cheap rates and anonymity providing the perfect cover for those with sinister intentions. By the 1980s, the Cecil's reputation had solidified. It was a no-go zone, a hotbed of crime and decay in the heart of a city grappling with violence and a crack epidemic. And it was here that one of America's most terrifying serial killers found a temporary home. In the mid-80s, Richard Ramirez, dubbed the Night Stalker, terrorized California with a series of sadistic home invasions and murders. During his reign of terror, he reportedly stayed at the Cecil Hotel. For just $14 a night, he could retreat into the hotel's anonymity after committing his horrific crimes. Eyewitness accounts from the time describe a lanky, gaunt figure, often seen returning to the hotel late at night, covered in blood. In the chaos and squalor of the Cecil, no one batted an eye. He would allegedly dispose of his bloody clothes in the hotel's dumpsters and walk up to his room, sometimes through the lobby unnoticed. The Cecil provided the perfect hunting ground and sanctuary. The flashing red and blue lights of police cars became a constant nightly backdrop, but for Ramirez, they were just part of the scenery. He was a predator hiding in plain sight, sheltered by the very walls that had already seen so much death. The fact that such a monster could operate with impunity from within the hotel speaks volumes about the state of the Cecil during this dark period. It was a place where evil could feel at home. Just a few years later, another serial killer would be linked to the Cecil. In 1991, Austrian journalist and convicted murderer Jack Unterweger checked into the hotel. He was in Los Angeles on a magazine assignment writing about crime and prostitution in the city. But Unterweger had a dark secret. He was a killer himself, preying on sex workers. He specifically chose the Cecil, some say, as an homage to Richard Ramirez, the killer who had stayed there before him. During his stay, at least 3 local prostitutes were murdered in a manner disturbingly similar to his previous crimes in Austria. Unterweger would cruise the red light districts near the hotel, pick up his victims, and carry out his brutal attacks. He was a chameleon, a charming writer by day, and a vicious killer by night. The Cecil, with its transient population and proximity to Skid Row, once again provided the perfect cover. The police were investigating the murders, but Unterweger, the visiting journalist covering their work, was hiding right under their noses. The idea that 2 separate, notorious serial killers chose this one hotel as their base of operations is more than a coincidence. It's a chilling testament to the building's magnetic pull for darkness. The Cecil wasn't just a witness to horror. It was an accomplice. After the turn of the millennium, it seemed the hotel was trying to shed its macabre past. It even underwent a partial rebranding, with part of the building being marketed as a more modern, budget-friendly hostel called Stay on Main to attract a younger, international crowd. But the ghosts of the Cecil were not so easily evicted. In 2013, the hotel would become the center of a global mystery that captured the internet's imagination and fear. A 21-year-old Canadian student named Elisa Lam checked into the hotel while on a solo trip across the West Coast. She was a bright, adventurous young woman who kept a blog about her travels and her struggles with mental health. After a few days, she vanished without a trace. Her parents reported her missing, and the LAPD launched an investigation. At first, it seemed like a standard missing person case. But then, police released the last known footage of her, and the case took a bizarre and terrifying turn. The footage was from one of the hotel's elevators, a grainy, unsettling clip that quickly went viral. In the video, Elisa is seen acting erratically. She enters the elevator and presses multiple buttons. When the doors fail to close, she peeks out into the hallway, cautiously, as if hiding from someone. She darts back into the corner of the elevator, then steps out again, looking both ways down the corridor. At one point, she appears to be speaking and gesturing with her hands to someone or something just out of the camera's view. Her movements are strange, almost choreographed, a mix of fear and what some interpreted as playfulness. Finally, she walks away and the elevator doors, which had mysteriously remained open the entire time, finally close. The 4-minute video was deeply disturbing. It raised more questions than answers. Was she being pursued? Was she having a psychotic episode? Was she playing a game? The internet exploded with theories, from the plausible to the paranormal. For weeks, the mystery of Elisa Lam's disappearance deepened. Police searched the hotel and the surrounding area but found no sign of her. Meanwhile, guests at the Cecil began to complain about problems with the water. The pressure was low, and the water itself had a strange color and an unpleasant taste. A hotel maintenance worker was sent to the roof to inspect the large metal water tanks that supplied the building. He climbed a ladder to the top of one of the main tanks and looked inside. There, floating in the dark water, he found Elisa Lam's body. The discovery was horrifying. How did she get there? The tanks were nearly 10 feet tall, and the access hatches were heavy and difficult to open from the outside. The rooftop itself was supposed to be locked and alarmed. The official coroner's report ruled her death as an accidental drowning, with her bipolar disorder listed as a significant contributing factor. But for many, this explanation was unsatisfying. The bizarre elevator video, the locked rooftop door, the heavy tank lid, the pieces just didn't seem to fit. The case remains a source of intense debate and speculation, the most infamous and modern chapter in the Cecil Hotel's haunted history. Today, the Cecil Hotel stands silent. After its long and troubled history, it closed for extensive renovations in 2017. With plans to reopen as a mix of hotel rooms and affordable housing units, the neon sign is dark. The lobby is empty once more. But as you walk past the building on Main Street, surrounded by the hustle and bustle of modern Los Angeles, you can't help but feel a chill. You can't help but think of the thousands of stories contained within its walls. The stories of desperation from the Great Depression, the unsolved murders, the serial killers who slept in its beds, and the inexplicable final moments of Elisa Lam in that elevator. The hotel is a landmark not of architectural beauty, but of human tragedy. It's a monument to the city's darkest side. As the city grows and changes around it, the Cecil remains a stark reminder that some places are imbued with the pain of the past, and some mysteries may never be solved. The building may be dormant for now, but its legend is more alive than ever, waiting for the next chapter to be written. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more dives into the darkness.